Kamala Harris or Trump? Who should real estate investors vote for in the upcoming election? In this video, we're going to be talking about how this affects me and how it will affect you if you choose to become a real estate investor. Now, before we get into this video, I want to let you know that I am not making decisions only for myself. I have about 600 people that work on my team. Out of those 600 people, 47% of my team is female. We have all races, we have all genders, people from all over the world work for us. Primarily, they've moved to the United States. And these decisions that I make are not just for myself. These have something to do with their retirement accounts. This has something to do with how much they get paid and how they get raises. So these decisions that I make are not light. They are very heavy decisions to make. So we're going to be talking about a property, when I bought it, how much I'm selling it for, and how these tax situations that Kamala or Trump will put into their policies, how they will affect me and my entire team. So let's get right into it. 2720 North Sterling Avenue, Mesa, Arizona, property I bought back in 2019. I bought this property without cash, without a bank, and without credit. This is what is called subject to. It's what I'm known for. I buy properties subject to the existing mortgage. In my portfolio, we have about $500 million in real estate. And so these decisions that Kamala or Trump make when they go into office impact me significantly and all 600 people that work for me. So I want to know your opinions of everything down below. Let me know. Are you voting for Trump because of this? Are you voting for Kamala? Let me know. I think most people, when they look at real estate investors, they look at them as individual rich people. And you forget that most of us real estate investors have employees, team members that rely on their paycheck that comes from the cash flow and other things in our real estate. So let's break this down. Since I've owned this property, 2019, I bought this property for $390,000. I am actively right now, and why I'm talking about this house is because I'm actively selling this property for $750,000. That is a significant piece of money, right? That's almost $400,000. That's $360,000 in gain, okay? $360,000 in gain. Now, something that would be a travesty is that if Kamala Harris goes into office, what I worry about is she will tax me on my unrealized gains as this property has gone up in value. So let's say I bought this property for $390,000 in 2019. And if Kamala was in office and she put her tax plans into place, what would have happened is this property would have gone up in value, let's say to $450,000 into 2020. Well, that's $60,000 in value in 1 year. She would have charged me 25% of that. And I would have had to pay that tax bill whether I had the cash for that or not. And so the appreciation portion of this is actually very significant. And the fact that Trump is not planning on doing that makes me want to vote for Trump just on the growth of my real estate and the ability I have to keep it. So let me tell you some of the cheat codes that us real estate investors have that are, by the way, in the IRS code. Cash flow. There's no real cheat code here, and there's no real reason why Trump or Kamala would actually tell me to vote one way or the other as it pertains to cash flow, other than, is the economy going to be okay, right? Is the economy going to be okay allows my residents, my tenants, to pay their bill, which is their rent, which is how I pay for my cash flow, and it's how I pay for my management, it's how I pay for my mortgage payments. Cash flow comes from the economy, not necessarily from an individual policy. It's an aggregate. It's a total policy, right? This policy plus this policy, this plus this policy equals the total economy, okay? So I'm gonna say this is a neutral one, right? I'm neutral here. I'm gonna say that it doesn't matter if it's Trump or Kamala, as long as both of them can get the economy up and roaring, I'm gonna be okay on the cash flow side. Here's where things start changing. On the appreciation side, what I worry about if Kamala gets into office is that as this property appreciates, which it's appreciated $360,000 over time, this property, $360,000, I probably would have had to sell this property by 2021 because I would not have had the tax money to pay for the unrealized gains. And before you start saying, well, Pace, that is only for people that are worth $100 million or more. Well, guys, let's talk about Bill 1840. We've done a video on this. Bill 1840 originally started out and was passed in 2023. In Bill 1840, not to get into the weeds today, but in Bill 1840, it originally did not include illegal immigrants. As of right now, they are waiting for the California state to pass An amendment. This is what happens with bad policy. They get a good policy in place and they start amending it. And right now they are trying to add illegal immigrants to the bill. So just because it is the way it's being proposed doesn't mean it's the way it's going to end. And me as a business owner that follows the politics of real estate, I realize that this whole, hey, we're only going to tax unrealized gain for rich people, it doesn't stop there, guys. They get it into office and then they start sneaking things into place and they just add an addendum, an addendum, an addendum. And before long, people are being taxed on their unrealized gains. And this is a very high likelihood. So for this appreciation, I would vote for Trump because Trump doesn't want to get in my pockets before I sell the property. That is something that Kamala Harris has already said she's wanting to do, is tax the people before they even sell the asset. Pace, you made all this money on paper, you haven't received it, but I still want you to pay taxes on it. That doesn't make me feel comfortable. And so let's go into the next reason why politics matter. The next one is depreciation, or we could just make this short and say tax savings. Okay, when I bought this property, this is what's beautiful. There's something called a cost segregation. I'm not going to go into depth of what a cost segregation is, but this is very much a Trump thing. Trump wants these things to happen. And what it does is it allows me to take this property, count it as a loss, and save me money on my taxes. The first year I bought this property, 2720 North Sterling Avenue, I saved somewhere around, I think about $80,000 in real taxes. Okay? The taxes I saved on this property are so significant that they were more significant than the cash flow I made for the first 3 years of owning this property. The tax benefits are so significant that I'm going to have to vote for Trump on this particular line item for sure. So right now I've got neutral, I've got Trump for the appreciation because Kamala is going to try and get my unrealized gains, and for the tax savings, I definitely want Trump. Why? Because the Democrats right now, I'm neither. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm a business owner that has a responsibility to 600 mouths to feed them and make sure paychecks are coming through the door. I look at this $80,000 and the Democrats are trying to get rid of this. Okay, they are trying to get rid of bonus depreciation, accelerated depreciation. They're trying to slowly wind that down. Trump wants to bring that all the way back. So for me, tax savings, Trump has my vote. Again, not as a Republican, but as a business owner. All right, next one. This one's a big one as well. This is significant. Pay down, okay? Pay down means that when I own a property, and I bought this property, 2720 North Sterling in 2019, I took over somebody else's mortgage subject to. Again, a strategy that I use to buy real estate without a bank, without credit, and without cash of my own. When I bought that property, I had a debt. And who pays that debt is my tenant. The tenant comes in, they pay the rent, that rent pays that debt down, and my net worth goes up. Again, this is something that I worry about with rental laws and controlling rent rates, right? You're seeing this in California. You're seeing this in New York. You're seeing this in Denver, Colorado significantly. So people that are in Denver right now, you see the Democrats coming in and they're controlling the ability to grow rent. So even though inflation's going up, you're controlling a landlord's ability to raise rent. And I get it. I understand the argument. The argument you're going to make, maybe if you're a Democrat yourself, is you're going to say, well, you bloody horrible business owners and you horrible real estate owners, you're hemorrhaging people. Actually, I'm not hemorrhaging people. I'm trying to keep up with inflation. And if so, there's bad policy in place and the Democrats have just printed money and just given it away, what happens is inflation goes crazy. And when inflation goes crazy, my need to raise rent also goes up. But it's the Democrats that are causing my tenants to stay at a lower rent rate. And I wish, guys, I wish inflation didn't exist. And I wish my tenants could stay in the same rent rate at the exact same place for the rest of their life. But things are getting more expensive for me as well. So I have to pass that dollar on. Now, let me point something out before you guys start hating on me in the comments. My average rental, which I have 2,132 rentals, 2,132 rentals. My average rental is $300 under the average rent rate. I do affordable housing. This is what I provide to the marketplace. I provide affordable housing to people through co-living, through multifamily properties, through RV parks, and through mobile home parks. My properties are incredibly affordable compared to my neighbors or my competition. I beat all my competition by providing affordable housing. And so what happens with bad policy Okay, this is another Trump thing. Trump allows me to raise my rents. He does not impose rent control on me. Okay, he allows a free market to survive and thrive. Let's say that my competition across the street has lower rent rate. That is rent control. Rent control is my competition. And so what the Democrats are doing is they're coming in and they're saying, hey, we know that a free market is what should exist, but you know what? We're going to thwart and cause everybody to have rent control, which causes real estate investors to leave that area and go invest their money somewhere else, which then causes the government to come in and have to provide government housing, which is incredibly expensive. And so what they're doing is they're taking government dollars, and I'll point this out to you. Okay, Los Angeles has rent control. So what's happening with real estate investors in Los Angeles is if you just type in Los Angeles homeless high rise, you'll see that right here, look at this property. So many real estate investors left the Los Angeles marketplace, and so the government pushed them out because of rent control. And they said, I can't make money here, inflation's going crazy, I'm gonna go invest somewhere else. Okay? People vote with their feet, my friends. They leave the states that they're in. And this is very much a Democrat policy here. And so what the Democrats then do is they take more tax dollars from the local demographic, and then they build unaffordable housing. Every one of these rooms costs $600,000 in taxpayers' dollars. And so this is a policy issue. Policy issue is when you don't allow the free market to control rent, you then have the government come in and control rent, and they can't. So next thing you know is they're just providing free housing to people, and it's incentivizing people not to work. Okay? So for me, Trump has got my vote here. Now, do I like Trump? No. I think that he's a buffoon. I think he doesn't make our country look diplomatic. I don't think that I don't think he's very presidential. But at the end of the day, when I'm making a decision for these people, I'm making a logical decision based on my ability to gain capital, to then expand my empire, which then gives raises, savings, retirement account for my team members. If my team members don't have a bright future, I have to make a decision and pivot where I invest my money. It's very logical, okay? Now, my next part, Trump is looking like he's winning. I think Kamala has a possibility of coming back and maybe tying this, but let's see what happens. The next one is pretty big. And I can tell you that this is also another Trump thing, leverage. Okay, what does leverage mean? Leverage means I can borrow against my real estate. And this is what will happen. Two things I could do right now. I bought the property in 2019. It's now worth $750,000, meaning I have a gain of $360,000. Kamala would have taxed me the entire time as my property appreciated. I would have had to sell this property. I wouldn't even have this problem. My problem would have been 2-3 years ago not having the cash to pay her tax. But now I have a different problem. Okay? Because of Trump and because of Republican policies, I can either A, sell this property and roll my 360 into a larger property, tax-free, avoid the taxes, and compound my empire, therefore giving me the ability to provide more affordable housing. Or B, I can refinance this property and I can pull that cash out, and because it's not income, it's considered a debt because I got a new loan, I can put leverage against the property, have a significant chunk of cash in my pocket to then grow my business all tax-free. Now, a lot of people that don't love that word, tax-free, they don't understand I'm paying significant property taxes, I'm paying significant employment taxes, I'm paying consumption taxes and other types of taxes, millions of dollars. I pay millions and millions of dollars in property tax every year. Imagine 2,132 properties, how much money in property taxes I pay every year. I love paying taxes. When I have the opportunity, I want to keep as much money as I can to expand my empire. So I'm not against paying taxes, I'm against paying avoidable taxes. And with Trump, he's got my vote on the leverage part because he wants to keep the 1031 in place. This is something that the Biden-Harris group has talked about getting rid of the 1031. That would be a significant blow to all real estate investors, and it would kill most real estate investors that are mom and pop investors. That is how most people keep their money and grow their portfolio. They also want to get rid of the ability to refinance a property and consider it not income. They want to consider that income because you've received money. Even though I have to pay it back through a debt instrument, they want to consider that income. That's a problem, okay? Now, the sixth one is story. Now, story is important. Why? Story is important because the way that you can make money from all of this is by downloading the story of how I buy all of my deals. Where do these leads come from? How do I negotiate with these sellers? What does the paperwork look like? What's the flow and the process for me to get into this business and make all this kind of money? This property on 2720 North Sterling Avenue has probably made me a total of $500,000 when you take the cash flow, the appreciation, and the tax benefits and combine them all together. That's one house out of 2,132. There's significant money here. This is a guaranteed way for you to become wealthy is through holding real estate. So the story of how I buy these properties, we built a free course, okay, that will teach you how to do 25 leads in 25 minutes. That course is in the link down below. It's downloadable. We'll email it over to you and you can watch. It's a couple of hours of training completely free for you to teach you how I go out and I find these opportunities to go out and buy real estate without cash, without a bank, and without credit. And while we're already talking about subject 2, I want to give you this video where I break it down. So many people have given us feedback saying that video alone was worth $1 million. It taught me exactly how you do what you do and how you started from scratch, sitting there watching YouTube videos and now have a big portfolio of 2,132 rentals, all from that video that we're going to give you right here. Now, the other thing I want to give you is a training down below. And that training is how I generate leads and how I started with no money and how I generated leads, found these types of opportunities. And while you're down there and you're jumping in the description down there, clicking on that link, we're going to send that over to you via email. But I want to give you guys a suggestion. Help us out for the next video. I want to know who you're voting for. Are you going to vote for Trump? Are you going to vote for Kamala? And give me the logical reason why. Because nowhere here did I have any emotion, right? I've got a lot of people that rely on me to not be emotional and make sure that I'm making smart decisions. So I look at this kind of stuff and I go, man, I want to know what my viewers feel. Now, I get a lot of comments down there below, super emotional about women's rights and this, that, and the other. And guys, I agree with all of those things. I agree with all of your opinions, but give me the logic behind Kamala. Give me the logic behind Trump down in the comment section. And don't forget, Eric only gets paid when we have subscribers, okay? This guy's he's losing weight right now. We got to get this guy fed. So every time we get a subscriber, homeboy gets some extra money. So please give us a little bit of love down there. Share this with your friends. Give us a comment. Tell us who you're voting for and subscribe while you're down there. We'll see you in the next video.